But severe weather breaking out across parts of central Kentucky. Newly issued tornado warning that is out here into a part of Montgomery County, over into southwestern Bath County, a part of Menifee County. This includes northern sections of Powell County as well. It's going to go until 7:45, so you got about a 45-minute lifespan on this cell. It's a cell we've been tracking for a while now. It's got a spin with it. It's had rotation along its entire track. It is just now entering into an environment where you've got a little greater spin that is showing up with this particular potential tornado. Other storms are going up here across parts of the Bluegrass region right now, but we are indeed picking up on this potential tornado that is just to the north of Clay City into Powell County. That is going to make its way across the Jeffersonville area, and eventually, if this holds together, it would get into Frenchburg. There are your counties: Bath, Menifee, Montgomery, and Powell. The storm started out to the southwest of Lexington into the Harrodsburg, Salvisa area and down into Boyle County. Made its way through here, and all of a sudden it collided with another storm. That you get two thunderstorms to collide sometimes. They absorb, one storm absorbs the energy, and all of a sudden they can start to spin. That's what we've been dealing with this particular cell that is to the north of Clay City into Powell County. That is rolling its way to the east and northeast. Now, it's moving along fairly quickly. Rotation with this, what we're looking at here, we're kind of giving this a MRI, if you will. We're looking inside the storm. We're not looking at a traditional radar picture. We are looking at the winds within this. So the red are winds that are going in one direction. The green are going in the opposite direction. So you look at what is known as a couplet here, where you have those side-by-side winds. That indicates where you're getting in on rotation. So if we are getting a quick hitting spin up here, it would be to the north of Stanton, just to the northeast of Clay City, along Highway 11. The 460 corridor coming out of Montgomery County over into Frenchburg into Menifee County. Got to keep a close eye on that particular area. So let's go a little closer now and inspect this potential tornado. This is the couplet that we're looking at. The winds again in the green are coming in from the west and the northwest. The winds in the red are going away from the radar site, which at this case would be National Weather Service down in Jackson and Breathitt County. So it would be right where you're getting those two colors to meet up, where you would have a possible tornado. It would be in this particular area. This is Clay City. Folks traveling up and down the Mountain Parkway, you know where Clay City is. Highway 11 shoots off of Clay City and goes into southern parts of Montgomery County and toward the Levy area. That's where the potential is for this storm to maybe drop a tornado. It is continuing to push away from the Lexington area, so no concern into the immediate Lexington metro, and no reports of a tornado with this at all. However, National Weather Service seeing just enough with the spin to issue that tornado warning that is making its way through. So if you are watching us right now into the counties we just talked about, you need to know those tornado safety drills, and chances are you have these memorized, but if not, it's our job to make sure you know what to do right now. Seek that safe shelter. Safest place is a basement. Get on the interior room. If you don't have a basement, it's always about being in the ground floor, because it is the ground floor that offers the best protection. The higher up you go in a building or a home, the wind speed is going to be greater. Notice in tornadoes, anytime there's damage, it's the ground floor that is usually still intact, while the upper floors are sheared off a little bit. Protect your head above all else. That's the thing we talk about all the time. If you got an old bicycle helmet, you got a football helmet, a baseball helmet, put it on. A hard hat even, that's the thing that will offer the most protection. Most people in a severe weather setup or a possible tornado, they are injured by flying debris. So protecting the old noggin is the first thing you need to be doing after you seek that safe shelter. Green area is going to show the safest place to be into the interior roomway or the bathroom. The hallway is offering a good bit of protection as well. The basement obviously going to be the safest spot that you can be in this type of an environment. Anytime you got a possible tornado, that's indeed the area we're going to send you to. Let's face it, not everybody has a basement. And if you're in a mobile home and you got a neighbor just down the road from you, and you can safely get there and say, hey, you're in a steady structure, a brick home, you got a basement, Me and the kiddos come in and seek the shelter until this thing is gone. That is what we would be advising you to do. It is the only warning that is out across central or eastern Kentucky right now, but it just takes that one. It's the spin that is showing up north of Clay City and slowly rolling its way to the east and northeast. So we put the radar in motion for you, and you just look at this and you're thinking, wait a minute, this is not a big deal. I don't see a whole lot of severe weather on this particular map. No, you're exactly right, but it is this one storm that has had some rotation with it for the better part of the past hour and change. So that tornado, if we are getting it now, it is to the north of Clay City. It is to the north of Stanton. I don't think in downtown Stanton we got to worry about this. We're going to worry about this in the western parts of Menifee County and extreme southern and southwestern parts of Bath County and across the southeastern corner of Montgomery County. The 460 corridor here is the area we'll really focus on. And we look at this storm with the rotation with it. It is still there. It's not the tightest rotation in the world. So when we look at a radar image like what you're seeing here, those are the winds going in opposite direction where you get a spin. If you're going to spin a top on a table, what do? You gotta get everything going in opposite direction, right? Same principle applies to a thunderstorm in the atmosphere. If you get some spin, you gotta have that rotation within that to set this thing off and potentially at the ground. Now you can have all kinds of rotation you want in the middle of a thunderstorm or way up in a thunderstorm and it never reaches the ground. You don't have to worry about it. This is close enough to the ground though to give us a good indication that at least this thunderstorm has the chance to spit out a weak tornado. So Stanton, Clay City, for the most part now, the worst of this is just to our north. It is going to cross over the 213 corridor, which is coming out of Stanton, north of the Mountain Parkway area. And what we'll do, we'll zoom in on a few areas. I'll clear the rotation signature off there so you get a more typical radar view. So right on top of the Montgomery and Powell County line, 213 over to Highway 11. Boy, that's where the worst of the weather is. The Morris Creek School is right in the middle of where this possible tornado would be, going up toward the southern section of Montgomery County there on 213. From there, you see a couple of those schools, Willoughby down to Spruce School and Pine Hill School, and that would roll its way across the lower Caney area into potentially the western side of Menifee County. No reports as of yet with this, so that's a good thing. No reports of rotation with this. I'm going to get a quick check on social media just to see if anybody is saying anything about this, and so far, so good. When we typically have a storm like this, you check the reports from our weather watchers because they're usually on top of this. If things are quiet with them, this is more of a radar indicated setup as of right now. But down the line, this would be right on top of Means, which is very close to the Montgomery and Menifee County line. That's on top of 460, the Cornwall area, and that goes right toward Frenchburg. Not sure that this warning will see the entire expiration time. That's you still have a little more than 30 minutes left on this particular warning. That goes until 7:45. But the worst of this storm is indeed right on top of the Powell and Montgomery County line, heading toward the east, toward the Morris Creek Road area, the Dunaway Road and Cove Mountain Road. Caulk Lake Road, now you're getting down into the open countryside into a lot of these cases, but obviously with this storm spinning its way across northern parts of the Mountain Parkway corridor, it is spinning away from Clay City. It is spinning away from the Stanton area and heading more toward the northeast. So folks around the Powell Valley, part of Powell County, you can start to breathe a little sigh of relief. But when we go in on this storm, now the last bit of a signature that comes through on this, right on top of 213, now we're starting to see a little better signature with this. So this thing is tightened up just a moment here north of Stanton. So the signature is better right now than what we were looking at just a minute or two ago with this potential tornado that is rolling to the north of Stanton. So we're looking right in here. If this thing is producing a tornado, it is between Jeffersonville and Stanton, and it is crossing 213 as of right now. And that'll move toward it's essentially going to be hugging the Montgomery-Powell County line for the next little bit. That will continue to work its way into western Menifee County. Now, western Menifee County, you still have a little bit of time to get ready for this possible tornado as it makes its way through there. It should be into western Menifee County in, maybe 10 minutes or so. But as of right now, the worst of this is right on top of the Montgomery and Powell County line. So Stanton, it is to our north, but I guarantee the winds are whipping here into Stanton and on top of the Mountain Parkway as the storm continues to roll its way quickly to the east and the northeast. That structure continues to show up pretty well. It's the only game in town. It is essentially a supercell thunderstorm, and if you were with us a little earlier tonight, our future radar was showing this thunderstorm very, very well as it made its way through. It was picking it up with a greater intensity to the east of Richmond, which is exactly where we are as of right now. Some of these short-range computer models are very, very sophisticated and do a wonderful job in picking up on individual thunderstorms like this. So we continue to look inside the core of this storm that is shaking now across northern Powell County. The radar signature with this is better than just a few minutes ago. Notice how the green is starting to wrap in just a little bit. So now that couplet we talked about a little bit ago that was broad is showing up better. You don't like to see the green and the reds going in a setup just like this. So odds favor this thunderstorm producing either a weak tornado or a funnel cloud just to the north of Stanton. Here's the Mountain Parkway, Clay City. This thing is to our northeast now. Downtown Stanton, this thing is just to our north. Jeffersonville into Montgomery County, it is just to our south. So we're walking a fine line with this tornado, potential tornado, nothing confirmed still, but a radar indicated tornado walking that fine line as this storm rolls its way right on top of Powell County and Montgomery County, and that will continue to head toward western sections of Menifee County. So if you're in these areas, this is pulling away. It's the only game in town as of right now. You need to find that safe shelter. Safest place is going to be a basement. You don't have that basement, you're going to hear me talk about these safety tips over and over and over. Because a lot of folks in this situation, you kind of know what to do until you're in the middle of something, then you draw a blank a little bit. You need to cover your head above all else. We've got this WKYT hard hat here. Pull this out every time we have a potential tornado. This can be a lifesaver. You protect the noggin. It is all about keeping your head safe and getting the lowest elevation that you can get to survive a potential tornado. And where do we go in our home? We know the basement's going to be the first location. If you don't have a basement, you go to that interior hall, a bathroom, or the stairs, and you get low. Assume the position, kiddos, that we just had back in March when we were at school. It's the same principle as the tornado safety drill that we had back in March, except we're at home now. So we're going to make sure we get really, really low and protect our head above all else. What we're doing, we're looking at your First Alert Radar Network, and we're not seeing anything as of yet showing up from this particular vantage point in terms of reports. However, given that this is in a rather remote area, a little more isolated area, if we are to get a tornado, the reports may not come until after that thing is through there. So what we're looking at now is the view from our First Alert Radar Network and the WKYT Tower Cam. We're looking in that direction, but that is approximately 50 miles from where we are. And it's moving away from us. So we're not going to see anything in the low levels of the atmosphere. But that was a storm that, as it made its way across the southeastern part of Fayette County and western sections of Clark County a little bit ago, I could see almost a little funnel cloud that was trying its very best to develop right along that particular supercell thunderstorm, and it is racing its way with that tornado warning. It goes until 7:45, Bath, Menifee, Montgomery, and Powell. But if you're in Clay City and Stanton, that thing is through your particular area right now. Jeffersonville, we're likely going to be just to the north of this. This thing is going to head more on the southern edge of that particular tornado warning, which may get expanded a little farther to the south to include the Mountain Parkway corridor toward Bowen, and maybe just a little farther south of 460 as well. The overall forward movement on this, it's not wasting any time. It's zipping through there very, very quickly. And you can see that stout rotation when we look inside this thing yet again. Notice the colors are a little brighter. The green is just a little brighter here. That's a faster spin that is showing up. So you got the colors that are the clash of the colors here. If we're getting that tornado, here's 213, Stanton, Mountain Parkway. It is just to our north and northeast. This is the Montgomery County line, almost now to the Menifee County line. So Montgomery County, Menifee County, Powell County, the confluence of those three counties going to be under the gun as we go through the next little bit with this potential tornado. Now, the best case scenario would be that this rotation has not made its way down to ground level, but it is certainly, when you look at a radar picture and what we're dealing with as of right now, it's a concerning system. And the trend on this is trying to take it just a little more to the right. When you see a thunderstorm that is orienting itself on a track and it starts to deviate, it's going due west-east, and then all of a sudden it dives a little bit to the southeast, that's when you have the concern for a possible tornado, and that's indeed what we're dealing with as of right now. No reports of any tornadoes. However, you wouldn't be getting anything in all likelihood this quickly. Getting some peace-highs hail reports out of Jeffersonville into southern parts of Montgomery County as of right now as this storm continues to make its way on through the area. So let's just kind of recap everything that's going on, because it is literally, kiddos, the only game in town, as we say, with one warning out for the entire region, and it just so happens to be a tornado warning as that storm continues to cross the 213 corridor across northern parts of Powell County. If you look at the radar presentation, one of the ways you can see how this is a strengthening storm still, watch the lightning all of a sudden start to increase with this over the past 10-15 minutes or so. You went from very little lightning to all of a sudden now that lightning really ramping it up a notch or two. So you've got no watches that are out, but you have the tornado warning that is out until 7:45 into Bath, Menifee, Montgomery, and Powell. And the worst of this storm is right on top of Menifee and Powell County lines, rolling into the western part of Menifee County. The potential tornado would be right in here. This is Stanton. This is 213. There's the 460 corridor. A lot of folks live up and down that 460 corridor. As of now, this is staying just to our south, but you're likely getting some P2 quarter-size hail on the northern edge of this. In a supercell thunderstorm like this, typically you get the larger hail just to the north of where the spin or the shear and the potential tornado is showing up. And in this case, it is to the north of the Stanton area. Do not like to see the brighter colors. So, you know, just play along with me. See the darker green here indicates a wind speed that's And then all of a sudden, the brighter the greens, the faster the wind. So you've got that spin that is definitely showing up. And then on the flip side of that, the reds, you don't want to see those. You don't want to see contrasting colors side by side. That's a weak couplet that is growing now in intensity, giving us the potential for this tornado that is along and north of the Mountain Parkway. And I know I keep jumping off here because I like to check in to see what is happening, but the Montgomery Powell County line is where we're getting in on the strongest rotation with this by far. I know I have a tower cam that is down there into the Powell County area along the Mountain Parkway. It's not going to be able to pick it up, though. That's the issue with this. And our tower cam here at the station, obviously we are far removed from that particular storm, so we're not going to pick up on it. But the amount of lightning that is coming from this cell is very impressive, and impressive in a bad way. That means it's continuing to increase a little bit. It is strengthening in the overall forward speed of this is increasing a little bit as well. But the intensity of this and the potential for a tornado is increasing because the amount of rotation in this particular storm is starting to increase just a little bit as well. And what we're doing here on your First Alert Radar Network, we're asking the radar to tell us exactly where that spin is. And you can see it's projecting this to head toward the northeast, toward the Salt Lick area, what around, that would be 8:16, so that would be a little more than an hour away. That's if it holds pat. Now the track on that jumps around a little bit, but what the radar is seeing is that it's known as a meso. It's giving you the meso track, a mesoscale or a mesocyclone. Has not given us the TVS signature or the tornado vortex signature, but it is showing us that you've got that rotation without question right on top of the Menifee, Montgomery, and Powell County line, rolling its way to the east and the northeast. And we go inside this. We like to give it an MRI to show the rotation. Now, thankfully, this last scan has weakened this just a little bit. You still got the couplet that is showing up here to the northeast of Stanton, to the east of 213, Jeffersonville and Means. Means is right on top of 460 there, along the Menifee and Montgomery County line, and that thing is rolling its way through that particular area and just south. So Weather Service saying wall cloud reported there from the Mountain Parkway through Powell County looking to the north. The wall cloud is sometimes a precursor to a tornado. It does not mean that there is a tornado. No word yet on if that was a rotating wall cloud or not, which would indicate more spin with it. But that tornado warning is set to expire coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll see if that gets pushed a little deeper into the overnight. So again, that tornado warning, it's the only game in town in terms of severe weather across central or eastern Kentucky. So the rest of the region is in pretty good shape. We're watching a thunderstorm or two. It's just this one lone supercell thunderstorm that is the cause for concern. We throw the radar into the mix. Only a couple of other cells are showing up anywhere across Kentucky. You got this one down into Casey County. They look harmless from this vantage point until all of a sudden you go in and give them a closer inspection. So until 7:45, we continue with this tornado warning. Northern parts of Powell County, southeastern sections of Montgomery County, southern parts of Bath County, and into Frenchburg in Menifee County, and points to the west. That goes until 7:45. Hopefully, we continue to see no reports of anything happening with this particular cell. But to the north of the Mountain Parkway, between the Mountain Parkway and 460, had a wall cloud reported with this. No mention of a funnel cloud or a tornado, but the signature is maybe trying to spread out just a little more as of right now, which is certainly good news. What you would want is for this thing to become much, much, much more on a broader scale. And that is, at least with this particular scan, happening when compared to a prior scan, when you had those colors that were really intense right up against one another. This thing is appearing to pick up its forward speed just a little more as well. So here's 213. Now this is heading toward the southwestern part of Menifee County. So if you're into southwestern parts of Menifee County, you got to keep you should be in your storm shelter right now if you got a storm shelter. If you don't, you need to seek shelter into a reinforced structure. If you're in a mobile home in this particular area, you want to get out of there because the potential tornado would be showing up right here. Boy, this is within, what, a half mile, a mile, potentially, of the Montgomery County line, coming out of Powell County and racing now into the southwestern corner of Menifee County. The overall structure on that, you may be seeing just a few circulations that are trying to compete with one another, which is what you want. You want these storms to really fight with one another. That way, no one spin can take control. Now, Bath County, you have been removed from that particular tornado warning, so that is certainly good news. I'll update this particular graphic to take Bath County out because this storm, again, is sliding more from west to east. So now it is for northeastern parts of Powell County. It is for Montgomery County, the southeastern tip of Montgomery County, and western parts of Menifee County with that particular tornado warning. So that cell It may be flattening out just a little bit. You got all these spins that are kind of competing with one another, which would include maybe, and we hope maybe, is a weakening trend with this as it makes its way on through. No reports as of yet via social media, no reports from our part of the world on anything coming from this particular cell. So I'm looking through social media right now. I'm getting some pictures from afar of this particular storm, but not seeing anything that would indicate that this is producing a tornado. And that's certainly what we hope is the case and what we continue to hope for across the area. But that's the only game in town. That's the only game in town in terms of any severe weather. And I know for folks who are trying to get in their Jeopardy and wheel fix, I feel you, all right? Here's your First Alert Radar Network with the broad view showing that severe thunderstorm and that possible tornado across sections of eastern Kentucky. There is the only watch that is out, by the way, is a flood watch that is out across northern Kentucky. You have no severe thunderstorm watches. You have no tornado watches anywhere across the Commonwealth, but just that supercell thunderstorm that is over into northeastern parts of Powell County. That is all she wrote in terms of severe weather, and it just takes the one, obviously, to cause issues, and this issue is with this potential tornado. Now, the good news about this, when I look at this, I start to see a storm that I think may be taking on more of just a damaging wind signature as opposed to a tornadic signature. So that tornado warning continues in effect, but you look at the inside this, at the winds, the green going in one direction, the reds in the other. You don't like to see those two side by side, but the structure on this is not as pronounced as maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago. And it is sliding very quickly into much more mountainous areas as the deeper you get into Powell County, into southern Montgomery County, and over into sections of Menifee County. Obviously, that's when you get into a little more mountainous terrain. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot in the overall scheme of things. As we have found out, unfortunately, through the years, you can have tornadoes in the mountains, but that cell continues to slide its way quickly to the east and northeast. And getting some pictures in of this particular storm along 213 out of Powell County, but nothing that would show any tornado or anything that would be concerning in terms of a funnel cloud or a tornado. So it will be interesting to see what the National Weather Service in Jackson does with this. Do they reissue a tornado warning, or do we just do we downgrade to a severe thunderstorm warning? Would think at this point, if this storm has not produced, knock on wood, right, has not produced a tornado, that it's missing a key ingredient in doing that. So that is welcome news. And I look at that on the leading edge of this. I see more of what may be kind of cycling into a damaging wind potential heading toward Frenchburg. So that updated warning are in good shape. Most of Powell County now in good shape. Most of Montgomery County in good shape. The one area we continue to watch would be right on top of where the county lines of Montgomery, Menifee, and Powell meet up. That small little area south of Jeffersonville, near Camargo, the Means area. And again, this is a broader circulation now, and you got a couple of little spins that appear to be slugging it out within this storm. 460 Mountain Parkway, this is in between those two areas and sliding its way quickly to the east. So the worst of this is going to be over into southwestern parts of Menifee County coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So chances are, if you're looking at this storm out of Frenchburg, or you're looking to the north out of Stanton or out of Jeffersonville, and you got a clear view of this, you're going to see one heck of a tall cloud, and it's going to look the part on that particular cloud, and you're going to probably see the base of that and not seeing anything from it, and that's what we hope to continue to see. A thunderstorm with some rotation up in that thunderstorm, it's okay as long as it doesn't get down to ground level, and then that's obviously when you got to be more concerned. But I look at this and I see several little rotations that are kind of fighting it out as of right now. This is 460, the Cornwall area of Menifee County. I would imagine, I don't know if all these counties have tornado sirens, but Obviously, if they are, they're scaring the daylights out of you right now, all right? Going off with the potential tornado that is into northern parts of Powell County, rolling toward the Cornwall area. The Lexington area, if you're tuning in right now, wondering what all the fuss is about, we got no other warnings anywhere across the state of Kentucky, which is certainly welcome news. But if you are watching us out of the northeastern part of Powell County, southwestern sections of Menifee County, and southern parts of Montgomery County, right along 460, you need to be seeking that safe indoor shelter as of right now, as this storm continues to make its way toward the east at a very quick clip. The tornado warning continues in effect until 7:45. So we've got about a little more than 13 minutes or so left on that particular warning. We'll see if that gets extended or it gets replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service in Jackson. But it is, at least over the past little bit, showing signs of maybe weakening just a little bit. I say that, and now I get a little video of what may have been what looks like a little funnel cloud showing up. I don't know if anybody is up in the booth that can maybe pull up my X or Twitter feed to do that. If not, maybe we can get somebody up there to do it. So we're watching this particular cell that continues to make its way with that tornado warning. And we continue to see, I'm reading, I know I'm doing like 2 or 3 things here at one time here, getting caught up on everything. But the video that I'm hoping to show you guys here in a little bit occurred at 7:15. So we're past the window from where that was. But your First Alert radar network as of right now has that severe thunderstorm with a possible tornado, with a tornado warning that goes until 7:45 here north of Stanton, southeastern parts of Montgomery County, over toward the Frenchburg area, right on top of 460. Got the expiration time on this coming up here in just a little bit. New tornado warning has been extended. That goes into far western parts of Morgan County and the far northern tip of Wolfe County as of right now. So we're continuing to see this system producing that new tornado warning, and I'm going to get a timeline on this for you guys. That includes just about all of Menifee County now, and then extends a little farther to the south and southeast, but it only gets into extreme western parts of Morgan County. There you go with the specifics on this new tornado warning that goes until 8:15 now, until 8:15 with that new tornado warning. I'm going to replace the old one here out of to get the updated one on there. But we continue with a tornado warning that is out into the Frenchburg area and across western parts of Morgan County and far northern sections of Wolfe County. So the radar continues to show a little bit of spin with this. We're going to move everything a little farther to the east now as this storm continues to make its way into the western part of Menifee County. So the storm is continuing to show a little bit of spin with it, and enough for the National Weather Service in Jackson to keep that tornado warning going a little while longer. That's going to go now until 8:15. And if you're watching us right now into Menifee County, in the southwestern part of Menifee County, we're watching this particular storm making its way on through and is going to continue to roll on through. There's a updated view of this, and on the radar, that last sweep goes through there, and it takes away some of the rotation that we had a little earlier. So that is certainly good news. I want to show you this video, though. It was sent into my Twitter feed just a little bit ago. Coming out of, I guess...
Look at a tornado right there.
So you can see, and we may want to be careful with the audio. Don't know what the audio has with it, but that would be our possible tornado that you're looking at right there in the distance. Certainly some spin with that. You can't, it's hard to see if that was touching the ground or not, but that indeed had a little bit of spin with it. And I believe that view was out of Montgomery County. Okay, Highway 213, which is what we were calling out that highway time and time again. That was Highway 213 between Stanton, Jeffersonville, into southern parts of Montgomery County. So that would have been around 7:15, and that possible tornado that we were looking at making its way across northern parts of Powell County. So that's very close to the Powell and Montgomery County line, and that possible tornado. Boy, you can definitely see the spin with that as it was making its way through that part of rural Powell County and right on top of the Powell and Montgomery County line. So this storm, now that we're looking at that, you've got the potential now for this to continue to produce a weak funnel cloud or tornado farther to the downstream. And the downstream is Frenchburg into Menifee County. So that newly issued tornado warning will go until 8:15. Menifee, Morgan, Powell, and Wolf, that goes until 8:15. This is the part of the storm that we're looking at, and it is right on top along and south of 460 with the potential tornado with this. However, the last sweep of this into western Menifee County shows more of a broader scale look with this. So the video we were looking at just a moment ago would have coincided when, if you were with us right at 7:15, give or take a little bit, I said this thing is tightened up and has a better chance now to produce a tornado than it did when the warning was issued. So that tightening did not last, thankfully, too long, and now you've got a little more of a broader view with this as it heads into southwestern parts of Menifee County. Some other pictures and videos that were being sent right now. We'll go to the view, I believe, out of Mount Sterling with an ominous looking sky with that storm that was passing just to our south. So that's what folks into downtown Mount Sterling were seeing as that storm was over on top of the Montgomery and Powell County line and making its way a little farther to the east and well, now bowling its way due east toward Menifee County. So that was the view from a little bit ago. We love pictures and videos that you guys send us. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to do for me. Put your safety above all else first, all right? Yeah, we love the pictures, but do not put yourself in harm's way to get a picture or a video. Okay, we love the pictures and videos, just please stay safe. That storm continues to shrink as well in the overall coverage of this as it heads toward Frenchburg. This is the storm that produced that tornado, potential tornado. The warning goes until 8:15. Got another picture out of the Powell County area from a little bit ago, and boy, look at that thing. That's like the mothership as it made its way across northern parts of Powell County. It would be right underneath that cloud that's over the telephone pole there. It would be right underneath that, we were likely getting that video of that potential tornado. That would have been occurring on the back edge of that near what looks like the wall cloud in that particular shot. And again, that storm continues to make its way toward the east from that particular vantage point. So if you're watching us now into Mount Sterling, into Stanton, into Clay City, it's the all clear. You guys are good. Yes, there's another little noisy thunderstorm out there, but it is not producing anything of substance. Until 8:15 though, Menifee, part of Morgan County, that's extreme western parts of Morgan County, and just a small part of northern Wolf County with that tornado warning. That'll take us until 8:15. So we're going to keep looking inside this. Even a new sweep that comes in here shows how this is now broadening out with the circulation with this, and it is along and south of 460. If this thing is still producing a funnel cloud or a tornado, it is now firmly into Menifee County, heading towards 77. This would be the southern part and the southwestern part of Menifee County, near the area that would take you toward the Red River Gorge area, the Slade area, Natural Bridge State Resort Park, along and south of 460. Folks into Frenchburg, whatever is left of this is going to be a really close call on whether or not it gets into downtown Frenchburg. The worst of that may come just to our south, or maybe just to our south and southeast, but no doubt about it, we are continuing to watch this storm making its way into western parts of Powell County. But you can see on the radar, it does not have the same bite that it had, thankfully, as what we were dealing with a little bit ago. If we can go back to that the video of that possible tornado, we got a good look at this out of 213 at one point this evening at around 7:15. If we have that video, we can pop it back up. All right, we're going to get that to you. But the view here inside this thunderstorm, the red, the green shouldn't be around one another, but we don't have those spinning in nice little couplet form. All right, at 7:15, we were showing you how this thing had tightened up really quickly. And if it was going to produce a tornado, and very well may have, that was going to be the time frame for it. And this is the video we got that was shot around 7:15 out of that 213 corridor near the Montgomery and Powell County line. So that would be your weak tornado there in the distance. Whether or not that is a funnel cloud or a tornado, it's hard to tell there because you got some trees and a home blocking the view. Tornado obviously touches the ground. Funnel cloud, it just does not touch the ground. If it touches the ground, it is no longer a funnel cloud. Folks, that becomes a tornado. So that's the view that folks were seeing at the same time our radar was picking up on the intense rotation with this storm. Now we go back to the radar and it's updated again. You still got some very strong winds, but this is more linear right now compared to what we were dealing with a little bit ago. By linear, that's a good thing, meaning you may have more of a damaging wind signature that is coming into southern parts of Menifee County, just to the south of Frenchburg. So folks living along Highway 77 and the 460 corridor into the southern part of Menifee County, got to watch this. These storms can cycle a little bit. By that we mean they spin, they tighten up just a little bit, and then they relax for a little bit, and then they tighten back up. Right now, over the past 15 minutes or so, this storm has been relaxing. We're hoping that it relaxes to the point it runs out of steam. Now, our future radar earlier took this to right about where it is tonight. Did a really good job in forecasting this particular supercell thunderstorm. The HRRR is the computer model we use for that. But it got it to about this point and said, okay, it's going to relax now. Now, it would coincide with sunsetting for the day as well. But that tornado warning continues in effect here in Menifee County, northern parts of Wolfe County, and that's going to slide into the far western part of Morgan County. I don't know that it ever makes it quite into the Morgan County area, but we shall see. And I continue to get more pictures and videos that are coming in of this storm and other storms from across the area. Got a really good view of what looks like the wall cloud associated with this from a view on the Mountain Parkway just a little bit ago. And boy, that was a stout wall cloud that made its way through there with this particular storm. And so you can see the view that everybody was getting across the area with this storm making its way into northern parts of Powell County. Here's that view from the Mountain Parkway from a little bit ago. Look at that. Look at the back edge of that. You can see the base, how it looks like there's just something hanging from that cloud. Yeah, that's the wall cloud there in the back, and that is typically, if you're going to get a tornado or you're going to get a funnel cloud, it's going to come from a setup that looks a lot like that. That was the view from the Mountain Parkway a little bit ago. I think we had a couple of pictures from that particular account that sent those to me just a moment or two ago. But that's the view. It's crazy that folks were seeing that storm from the Mountain Parkway, considering this would be looking to the north toward the Montgomery County line on that. So that would have been when this storm was about right in here, and the Mountain Parkway's down here. So that was crossing 213, and it had that spin with it. Now, you can see we've updated this tornado warning. National Weather Service in Jackson has updated it. We have dropped Montgomery County. Montgomery County, we're all clear. Powell County, we're all clear as well. And we're continuing to see this particular storm that is making its way toward downtown Frenchburg. We've had other strong thunderstorms across southern Kentucky, not producing any damage. Here's a little video we just got out of the Eubank area a little bit ago, that storm that was rolling its way on through. Notice that is more of a shelf cloud look than a wall cloud look. That shelf cloud, meaning you can get some pretty good winds with that, but nothing truly severe, which is a welcome sight. But again, those thunderstorms across southern Kentucky kicking up a little bit of a fuss as well, but nothing like the storm that is currently into Menifee County. We will see if the Weather Service extends this tornado warning, but I do want to update the graphic to show you that new tornado warning and how we have now cleared Powell County. We have now cleared Montgomery County from that particular tornado warning. So if you are along and ahead of the potential tornado, you need to be finding your safe shelter. We continue to run down what is going on as of right now in terms of those safety rules you need to be applying with the potential tornado coming into Menifee County. A tornado right now, potentially south of Frenchburg. If you're in Menifee County, seek that safe shelter. Safest place to be is a basement. Interior room on the lowest floor is going to be your maximum safety. If you cannot get into a basement, of course, you want to cover your head above all else. Doesn't matter where you folks are. If you're seeking shelter right now, I want you to do me a solid and put something on the noggin, all right? If it's a hard hat, whatever it is. If it is a baseball helmet, put it on. If you got a bicycle helmet, put it on too, because most injuries, most fatalities, God forbid, happen when you get hit in the head. So we cover our head above all else. I want to go back to my At Kentucky Weather Twitter feed to show you some stuff we're getting in. And this is out of where we look in Menifee County, looking toward that storm that was making its way on through just a little bit ago. So Tabor is the community right now that we're monitoring into southern parts or just to the south of Frenchburg. That's the storm. Wish we had some cameras here to talk about. We do not. However, you got a Mountain Parkway cam, but it wouldn't be capturing. I'm just kind of thinking ahead, or thinking out loud here on what we have there that would show what's happening outside of our Twitter pictures and videos that we're getting. And unfortunately, I don't have anything into this particular area right now. But if you are into Frenchburg, Menifee County, and the far western part of Morgan County, need to be seeking that shelter. I think we're okay. I think we're okay here into northern parts of Wolfe County. So I think we're okay with that. But the potential tornado goes until 8:15 for that tornado warning. I guarantee you, downtown Frenchburg, we may be missing the strongest rotation with this, but we're likely getting in on some large hail with this particular part of the storm. So here is our spin showing up south of Frenchburg. This is crossing over 77. I'm going to take the radar and we're going to go in much closer now because we need to fire off some community names down here just to get some folks' attention. A lot of times you don't necessarily can't look at a map, figure out, okay, where am I on this particular map in relation to what the radar image is. So if you're along 77, you're to the west of the Denniston area, that's where you need to be in your safe shelter right now. So there's downtown Frenchburg. Our potential rotation is showing up here on the southern edge of this, near the Corner Ridge Road area, Amos Ridge Road, Indian Creek Run, and that would eventually slide a little farther to the east and make its way toward the Trimble Bend School area, 746. Now, you know, when we get up close and personal like this, well, you get some place names in there. As somebody who grew up in this particular part of the Bluegrass State, I know how some of those names go. And you can see there's Doc Mullins Road, Core Drive, and all of that is right off of Highway 77. So if we're calling out any of those communities that you live in, you need to be seeking that safe shelter immediately and covering your head no matter what we do. We're going to continue to move the radar image farther to the east with that particular spin that continues to show up to the south of Frenchburg, and it's tightened up just a little more. So that's the concern when we said this storm is cycling just a little bit. It is doing just that, and that's going to be that particular spin that is showing up here south of the Frenchburg area where you can get that possible tornado as it makes its way through Denniston and then over into extreme western parts of Morgan County. So 772 over there into Morgan County. We'll keep a very close eye on that particular storm that is making its way through. Likely getting some pretty good hail with this storm as well that is making its way across Menifee County. Other videos that are coming in, got some video out of the Powell County area looking toward Jeffersonville from the Mountain Parkway. If we can pull that up here in just a second, it shows a nice lowering of what looks to be our wall cloud from just a little bit ago. But that spin south of Frenchburg. Frenchburg, you guys are getting it on some at least pea-sized hail, I would imagine, as of right now. So resetting everything. This is really the only storm that we're tracking that is remotely severe, and it contains a possible tornado. You've got a few of these thunderstorms that are noisy coming out of Pulaski County, coming out of Casey County, going into Lincoln County. Nothing overly concerning. It is this particular storm, though, that is right on top of Frenchburg and just south of 460 that has had some spin with it. And then what may be a kicker to this, that little shower coming out of Campton into Wolfe County, crossing the Mountain Parkway, it's being pulled into this storm. We've got a nice inflow into this storm. So we'll see if that just gives it a little extra spin. We saw that, an hour ago? Storm, we talked about this. If you were watching on the First Alert Weather Show, we were seeing a storm that was coming out of Estill County into this storm that was crossing out of Clark County and into Powell County. And all of a sudden, it gave it a little kick in the pants, gave it just a little extra nudge to start spinning, and it ramped it up. And boy, oh boy, that supercell thunderstorm just keeps on keeping on. Menifee County, Morgan County, Wolfe County until 8:15. So why are we in this? Let me show you the video from a little bit ago when we had this, what looked like a possible tornado showing up. We got this out of the 213 corridor that is right on top of Montgomery County and Powell County. And this was making its way to the east. So that video, you can't see the base of that, whether or not that was on the ground as a tornado or just a funnel cloud. Funnel clouds, you know, they don't really do a whole lot. They don't harm you. They don't touch the ground. Tornadoes, well, it's a different ball game, obviously. If funnel cloud touches the ground, then it becomes a tornado, and that's what we were dealing with as we make our way through the 715 corridor, or 715 along 213 corridor. This was a little after 7 tonight when that storm really tightened up. The rotation, it's still there though. Here's downtown Frenchburg toward Denniston, 77. This thing is working its way toward the Maribah area and Denniston. And if this holds together, folks around Grassy Creek here in the western parts of Morgan County, we got to keep a very close eye on that. I have not had any reports of damage yet. No damage out of Montgomery County being reported, just getting that fed to me, which is really good news. The spin with that, though, I don't know that it ever made its way into Montgomery County. It stayed just to the south of the Montgomery County line and into Powell County. So chances are, if we're going to have some damage with this, and we certainly hope not, right, it's going to come out of northern Powell County and into the western part of Menifee County and just to the south of Frenchburg. But watching this system just continue to maintain that at least broad rotation. This thing is, it's like a figure skater. Figure skater spins really quickly by tucking those arms in, right? Spinning around. They slow it down a little bit, they extend those arms out. It's the same principle, unfortunately, with a supercell thunderstorm. When it broadens out a little bit, you're not as worried about it. When it tightens up, boy, that's when that spin can really begin to show up as this storm makes its way across Menifee County. So Denniston, new sweep going through there. Thankfully, we continue to see this in a broadening phase as it makes its way across 460 toward Denniston. There's the Maribah area, Artville, and the community of Dan, and the Big Woods area toward Pomeroyton into far southeastern parts of Menifee County, very close to the Morgan County line. So that spin is right in here, and it's in one of those where the arms are out phase. It's not as tight, it's not as spinning as much, and that typically will happen with a supercell thunderstorm. Sometimes you get it to produce what may be a funnel cloud or a weak tornado, then it goes away. But it's not done just yet. It likes to what we call a cycle. It cycles through a lifespan of producing tornadoes, funnel clouds, and then it relaxes just a little bit. But we look at the overall broad view here, and we're back to what has a little more of a linear look to it. Yes, you got a pocket of some much stronger winds here. Yes, the whole storm is rotating a little bit, but you don't see that tight couplet what we had, or like what we had almost an hour ago now. We've been on with this since right at the top of the hour of 7 o'clock. Let's see where we are. This particular warning goes until 7:15, so we got about just a shade under 20 minutes to go with this. So we're continuing to see how that system makes its way to the north and northeast. So broader view, because we got to set the scene for everybody who's just tuning in and thinking, wait a minute, where's my Wheel of Fortune? Where's my Jeopardy? Where's blah, blah, blah? I get it. I'd rather not be talking about severe weather, but that's what we got to do. No watches, but that one lone dog of a tornado warning that is out into eastern Kentucky, and it is essentially for Menifee County and gets into a very small part of northern sections of Wolfe County and a small part of western Morgan County. Hopefully, we don't see that extended a little more to the east. Hopefully that weakening trend can continue, but boy, it's still packing a lot of lightning, and watching a little uptick in lightning here on the Lincoln and Casey County line with a storm racing to the north that will head towards Stanford, eventually getting into Boyle County as well. Supercell thunderstorms got a kicker coming in behind it. What I like to see, I would really like to see that system, that thunderstorm behind it, develop just a little bit and choke off the inflow into our storm that is a little farther to the east. So we're going to continue to watch this until at least 8:15. And there's your severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado with that warning that is out now into Menifee County. 460 corridor is going to be the place to watch for the next little bit. Frenchburg, the spin just to our south. Chances are we're getting in on some good winds. Chances are we're getting in on some at least pea to nickel size hail. But if we are getting some spin, it's going to be right in here, just to the southeast now of Frenchburg, toward Denniston, toward the Maribah area, and lifting its way almost due east. This thing, it's been incredible to watch this bowling with very little deviation from west to east. This thing made its way between the 460 and the Mountain Parkway for the better part of, 30-40 minutes, and now it is crossing over 460, because 460 here, once you get to Frenchburg, starts to head toward the southeast into West Liberty. But this is our spin showing up to the southeast of Frenchburg, and it's going to continue to roll its way to the east. And that tornado warning just barely gets into the western part of Morgan County. So we continue to watch with each radar sweep that goes through. We get new data. National Weather Service down here in Jackson, because this storm is now so close to the radar in Jackson. They are getting a great view of whatever it is that is going on with this storm. No matter if it's at the lower levels, chances are you can see below a couple thousand feet now. Or in the mid-levels. We'd love to see a weakening trend in this thing. Especially concerning was the video that we had earlier of that, what looked like either a funnel cloud or tornado. Couldn't tell if it was on the ground or not, because the landscape preventing us from seeing the spin, if whether or not it was reaching the ground. And we can look at that again. That was 213 in the northern parts of Powell County from a little bit ago. They zoom in, zoom out a little bit, and it was hard to catch, because I guarantee you that thing was moving along very, very quickly. So we continue to watch the large hail structure of this particular storm that is growing as well as it. An area where, we're still, nerves are still on edge here, based on, we had a deadly tornado that hit this same area back on in March of 2012. So March 2nd, 2012, we had a devastating EF3 tornado that started near Frenchburg into Menifee County and made its way across Morgan County. No, we are not saying that is going to happen this time. We're just giving a historical reference for a storm that hit in this same particular area. So that severe thunderstorm that is bowling its way to the east. I mean, this thing is teeny tiny. If we just look at how wide, I mean, it's barely 10 miles. 10 miles in terms of the structure of this storm. That is crazy. We can do a cross section on this thing. It's even less. I mean, you're talking about a 10 by 10 small little teeny tiny supercell thunderstorm that continues to rumble its way across Menifee County and right on top of the 460 corridor. If this can make its way into the western part of Morgan County, that would be just to the north of Grassy Creek as it looks right now, something we will keep a very close eye on as that storm continues to make its way on through. And it's getting at least within an area where I can get a camera view from our camera at Morehead State University as we track a storm that is well to the south of the city of Morehead. It is not producing anything in Rowan County, but way there in the distance. And again, it's a 10 by 10 storm, 10 miles wide in either direction. That is crazy to see how small of a supercell that is. We can't even see you can't see anything with that particular storm showing up on our tower cam out of Morehead State University. But a rotating wall cloud, Macaulay Ridge there into Frenchburg at least has been reported. Now, we haven't had any fresh reports of a possible tornado with this. I just got some great new video in from that area of Madison County, or I should say of Menifee County. If we got my Twitter feed pulled up, yep, here's the Frenchburg area. Take a look at this. This is, and again, this was more of, you can see that lowering there in the distance, but you're not seeing a funnel cloud. You're not seeing a tornado with that, but you may be still seeing some rotation there at the base of that. And yeah, definitely some spin that continues to show up with that. That's a great piece of video showing what may be that lowering wall cloud right there in the middle of your screen. Just see a couple of flickers of lightning with that. We'll stay with that video just to see if anything does pop with this, because I haven't had a chance to preview it. So we're looking at this for the first time together, and that's what you're dealing with. So nothing necessarily showing up on that particular video, though you look in the distance, you can see that spin that just continues to show up on the near Frenchburg there into Menifee County. We can re-loop that and show it to you again, because I do want to step off to see if we're going to get an update on this particular tornado warning, or keep it going, or are we going to see what happens with this, whether or not we get this extended downstream. Looks like we may get a new warning that goes a little farther downstream into Morgan County. We'll see if this is a severe or a tornado warning. With the cell that is going up, you're getting a little bit of merger. So they're going to keep that tornado warning going as of right now. So Morgan County, you're going to be placed under a new tornado warning that should be popping in here very shortly. But I'm looking at the radar picture out of this area, and I'm seeing multiple storms that are going up. And I think that is very good news, because the more storms you can get to go up right now, the better the opportunity you're going to have for that main storm, that supercell thunderstorm into Frenchburg, to weaken. So there's almost a little boundary that is out there, and it is that stalled boundary we were talking about several days ago that just continues to show up. But as of now, we'll wait for this new warning to pop in. I want to keep it on this particular view, because that may get into West Liberty here very shortly with that particular warning. But you see the cell coming in behind it, see the cells that are going up out ahead of it. Let's bring them on. Let's get as many showers and thunderstorms we can get to go up around this as is possible, because that's going to zap some of the energy. That means that storm has some competition now. So instead of being a supercell thunderstorm on its own, dictating the environment, all of a sudden it's got some competition. Competition is our friend in a setup like this. Frenchburg, Menifee County, that is just to our east as of now. And notice the lightning. It's starting to outrun the lightning, which tells me it shows lightning every 15 minutes on this loop. So I have it cycle through. So it only keeps any particular lightning strike for 15 minutes, then it gets rid of it out of the system, because if not, you'd have nothing but a radar full of lightning, right? So we have it expunge the lightning strikes from 15 minutes ago. So it is kind of outrunning the little pocket of lightning that you had around the Frenchburg area from a little bit ago. And then farther to the west, nothing that is out there across the Bluegrass area. So this broad rotation continues to show up. hopefully we get the fight with these storms to take away some of that energy and continue to zap some of that energy. But we're in a chat with the National Weather Service over here, and they're talking about, they give you a heads up, they're going to extend a warning or what have you. So that's why you see me disappear from time to time to step off the screen to get an idea. There's the new tornado warning. That does include West Liberty. That includes the Route 7 corridor of Morgan County. That includes up toward areas just to the south of the Rowan County line. I don't think any part of Rowan County is in this. Let's update it here and give you just strictly Menifee and Morgan. That'll go until 8:45 for an extended tornado warning run with that cell that is coming out of the Frenchburg area. But the chances are that this storm is going to start to encounter an environment that is nowhere near as conducive with this. So that's a good thing. We want to see the competition that is ongoing there. So let's go to Stanton from a little earlier. Take a look at this this picture of what looks like the mothership, right? That was our supercell thunderstorm as it made its way across northern parts of Powell County. That was the view from not too far away from the Mountain Parkway of what folks looking to the north were dealing with that particular thunderstorm that may very well at the time have been producing a tornado. And we're up close and personal now because I want to show you now on this storm on the radar what it looks like. Here's Denison. Here's 460. Frenchburg, the worst is now to our east and southeast. However, if you're near Artville, the Big Woods area, over toward Bonnie, the Maytown area, Murphy Fork, into western parts of Morgan County, if we are getting rotation or a possible tornado with this, it would be heading in your general direction. But we're looking right in here. This would be our spin. 460 is right here. Here's 746, the Denison area. And I've been on this road many times here between Frenchburg and West Liberty. A lot of folks live on this road. You need to be in that storm shelter as of right now, finding the safest place to be. And for the rest of the region, even here, I like to see the trend of some action going up. Where should you be if you're in Morgan County or eastern Menifee County? You need to be in that safe shelter as of right now. Safest place to be is a basement. Interior room on the first floor is going to be your safest bet if you do not have a basement. Now listen, if you're in a mobile home into these areas, mobile home is no match for high winds, let alone a possible tornado. So do me a solid right now, if you're in Morgan County before the storm gets to you, you're in a mobile home, maybe you got a few minutes, you can go down the road just a little bit. You got a neighbor, lives in a brick home and has a basement. Go give them a knock on the door, say, hey, come in the kiddos, can we come in for a little while until this thing blows over, just to stay safe. And then when you get there, no matter where you are, I want you to do me another favor. We're going to put on a helmet, we're going to cover our heads. We are going to take an old work helmet like what I got here, an old hard hat. You got an old baseball batting helmet, softball helmet, a bicycle helmet. How many of the kiddos have a bicycle helmet? I want you to put those on right now, and we're going to cover our head. A football helmet. If you got a trophy helmet that is up there, you got your Bengals helmet up on a shelf somewhere, put it on. You know what? I don't care how we look. We're going to get through this. We're going to be okay. And for the kiddos out there, probably scared a little bit, I hear you. I feel you. We're going to get through this, okay? We're just going to follow these safety rules, and we're going to be okay. Remember what we did, what we do every spring during the tornado drills. Remember that, kids? When we assume that position, we take a big deep breath, and then we got this, all right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit those safe places, and if you're with a parent or grown up and maybe they don't know exactly what to do, you remember what to do from all the weather talks we've had together or from all of those safety days that you've had at school. Safest place to be, the areas in green. You want to get to the center point of your home or your business. The object is and has always been to put as many walls between yourself and the outside as you possibly can. You want to avoid windows. You want to avoid an outside wall. The basement obviously is going to offer the greatest potential for safety. basement, you're below ground, you are in really, really good shape if that is the case. So we're watching that tornado warning, and I'm also seeing, at least on that Morehead State University cam now, where we have part of the cell that is on the northern edge of that is developing to the north. So you're seeing that offshoot of some rain now coming into the southern part of Rowan County. So this is not part of this tornado warning into Rowan County or the Morehead area, but it is showing how our system is kind of fanning out a little bit. It's not one lone supercell thunderstorm any longer. We want competition for thunderstorms. That's the only game in town. Folks, we got no watches for severe thunderstorm watches. We got no tornado watches anywhere across Kentucky. We have this tornado warning, though, with what was a supercell thunderstorm, and it is trying its best to become a little more, how do we say, friendly with other thunderstorms around it. Still, though, hopefully it's not strong enough to fight them off. Here's that new tornado warning, 845 Menifee County into Morgan County. This does include the downtown West Liberty area, though the worst of this may be just to the north of downtown West Liberty. Going to be a really, really close call. Obviously, West Liberty, you know, we took it on the chin back in 2012. Never going to forget that one. That was the second of two tornadoes that hit within a 3 or 4 day time span, I believe, back then. What we're dealing with now is still that rotation that is right on top of Denniston into eastern and southeastern parts of Menifee County. It is riding 460 into the western part of Menifee County, and that's going to continue to make a beeline toward the Grassy Creek area and right on top of 460. So if you know, if you got some loved ones down here that live along the Menifee-Morgan County line, they may not be paying attention. Maybe they're snoozing, taking a nap or whatever. Give them a call. Don't text them. Give them a call. Say, hey, got to hop up. Got a possible tornado that would be coming your direction with this storm that is right on top of 460. And some of those areas here would be the Artville area, the Pekin, the Bonnie area, and down toward Grassy Creek along 460 back toward Maytown and just to the north of that. So that 460 corridor is going to be the one to really keep a close eye on. That's what we've been watching for a while. That storm is now hugging the 460. It's just been hugging 460 since it made its way across parts of Menifee County. And right on top of Menifee County, the Frenchburg area, you're all clear now. And it's going to continue to make its way to the east into the Morgan County area coming up here very, very shortly. So to recap, the only warning that we have now is the Frenchburg warning is set to expire. So you'll see that one going by the wayside very quickly. The warning now is essentially for far eastern Menifee County and into much of Morgan County. West Liberty, the Grassy Creek area in particular, and north is where we're getting it on this potential spin. And I look at this thing, and every time this thing wants to flatten out a little bit, all of a sudden it tries to tighten up just a smidge, even though it's got some competition with some other showers and thunderstorms right now. So we're looking at a rotation that is just along and north of 460, still into Menifee County. It is still right on top of 460 into southeastern parts of Menifee County and rolling toward the east. Folks into West Liberty, Morgan County, guarantee the tornado sirens are going off. The Wrigley area, this may pass just to our south, which is right along Route 7 there, out of the Morgan County area. That should pass just to our south, and it's going to continue to hug the 460 corridor. Eventually, I think it deviates and stays a little north of that. I'm getting some more pictures, some more videos in. If we have a chance to pull some of those up, let me know, because I would like to show the folks what we're dealing with and continue to give folks an idea of what we're dealing with and what we are seeing with that particular storm that is making its way out of Menifee County and now crossing right on top of the Morgan and Menifee County line. Now look at this, and the brand new sweep coming in, by the way, showing it broadened out a little more. So come on competition, come on other thunderstorms, other showers that are around this thing. The lightning with it is decreasing just a little bit. It's losing the supercell look on the radar. You see the other showers that are coming out of this that are hopefully interrupting the flow. You just need something to kind of straighten this thing out a little bit and interrupt the inflow into it, and all of a sudden it's a calmer evening across the land. Let's go to, I believe, the Woodstock area and look at this. Can't tell whether or not that was spinning or not, but that's what folks down here into Menifee County we were looking at just a little bit ago. Oh, Glory there waving in the wind. Not doing a whole lot of waving. That thing looks like it was, the flag was strung out there because of that strong wind that was showing up as of right now. So we're going to continue to see that circulation that it rolls its way out of Menifee County and into Montgomery County. One of the best ways that to see if has been any kind of a touchdown or anything I like to look at. If we could pull up the power outage map up there at some point, because I think it's telling that we haven't had anything cause a lot of damage. And we could show you that, because if you look at this, you notice you don't see anything out of Powell County, out of Montgomery County, out of Menifee County as of yet. Now, that doesn't mean it can't change. You see a couple of outages there into Lawrence County and into Bath County, not related to this particular storm, though. So we look at that, and that is often an indicator that we don't have a large power outage showing up in the counties where this storm has made its way through. So we will see if the Weather Service holds on to this particular tornado warning for the next little bit, because it's not as stout as what we were dealing with by a long shot, and that even the overall wind speed within this is decreasing a little bit. So you notice we don't have those bright neon colored greens like what we had a little bit ago, which is an indication that the overall structure of this storm is not as stout. Now, does this thing try and flex on us one last time? Boy, we sure hope not. Doggone. This is heading toward West Liberty and Grassy Creek and is ready to make its way out of Menifee County. But I can tell you, Morgan County, this is in a weakening phase as of right now. So what are we looking at if we look west out of West Liberty toward this storm coming out of Menifee County? Take a look at this, and you can see this is from my Twitter feed a little bit ago, and you can see that what does look like a wall cloud there. Doesn't look like it is lowered based on that, where we can still see it above the tree line, which is always a good thing there, and it almost has what's like a little tail to it. That's the inflow coming into this. But that's what folks out of Menifee County or out of Morgan County are seeing as you look along that 460 corridor into sections of Menifee County. And chances are that is a storm that is weakening as of now. Now listen, you know the deal here. Anytime there's a tornado warning, we're going to be on the air. Doesn't matter if it's for Fayette County, if it's for the county that is in the farthest reaches of our viewing area. Everybody's home to us. So we're going to try, we take care of everybody, and we're not going to try to take care of everybody. We do take care of everybody. Here's that storm that is now into eastern parts of Menifee County, rolling toward Grassy Creek, and I look at this and I'm thinking, boy, that looks good. I just don't want to get too excited now, because this storm has cycled a little bit, but I think what we're dealing with now, we'll see if the circulation jumps maybe just a little bit, but even on the leading edge of that, where those storms kind of merge, you see a weakening just in the reflectivity part of the radar. So it's not as jumped up, it's not as pumped up. But every time I get a little excited with this thing tries to give us one more little spin. But it now has other showers and thunderstorms coming along for the ride. Now we'll have to keep an eye on all of those, but so far you're not seeing a new center of spin showing up. We're back to that competition thing, if you will, for these thunderstorms kind of fighting amongst themselves. Back here across the Bluegrass region into central Kentucky, you're thinking, wait a minute, weather dude, what's the deal? Nothing locally. I mean, you got some showers, you got some thunderstorms that are ongoing, but nothing that is concerning. Watching these cells that are racing to the northeast, out of Danville, out of Lancaster, out of Stanford. But the only severe weather game in town on the day continues to be this lone dog of a supercell thunderstorm that has been making its way into out of Menifee County and into parts of Morgan County. So a moment ago we were looking at this storm and it was barely a 10 by 10 storm. All right, there it is. 7 miles from north to south, and from west to east you're talking about 11-12 miles. So this thing again is very, and I mean very small in terms of a supercell thunderstorm. And at this point, if we have not had a report of a tornado and or significant funnel clouds with this over the past half hour, 45 minutes or so, now the question becomes with the National Weather Service, or you got to, at some point you got to say, okay, this is no longer has the capability. This no longer has the capability of producing a tornado. I hope we're about there, and based on the radar picture that I'm looking at here, I think we're getting really close. I know folks here in Morgan County are hoping and praying that is the case, and you know what? So am I, guys. That's your warning until 8:45, so you got, what, 20 minutes, give or take a little bit, left on that particular warning. But it is making its way from west to east, and we have been watching other thunderstorms that are showing up across the bluegrass region as well. The atmosphere today, and it has been this way for a while now, has had some spin with it. Just a few days ago, we saw some rotating showers and thunderstorms that were making their way across central and eastern Kentucky. Doesn't mean just because they have some rotation with them that they're actually going to follow suit and produce a tornado. But the radar image right now out of Menifee County looks good, as the overall structure of the thunderstorm itself, not just the winds, but you look at this radar picture, you can see the weakening trend and the reflectivity of this particular storm. Watching a storm here right on top of the Mountain Parkway into Wolfe County. Watching a storm here, Candle City, not too far away from Hazel Green into West Liberty. But it is this storm, if we are getting some spin with it, it's taking its good old sweet time. It's slowed down a little bit too as the showers and thunderstorms to the south hopefully kind of choke this thing off a little bit. But watching the possible spins that are associated with this as it makes its way along and north of 460 into Morgan County. So Frenchburg down to Grassy Creek and over toward the West Liberty area. That is where that tornado warning continues in effect until 8:45 this evening. But there is a definitive downward trend in the overall structure of this particular storm, and here's hoping that continues. We're going to watch those storms coming into central Kentucky too. As again, I mentioned, the atmosphere is kind of in a mood where it wants to spin a little bit, but so far we haven't had any reports of a tornado touchdown. We had the one video that it was really hard to tell whether or not it was a tornado or just a funnel cloud. I'm leaning toward a funnel cloud since we haven't had any reports of anybody seeing a true tornado on the ground or any damage, which is certainly what we're all hoping for with this one single tornado warning that continues in effect across eastern Kentucky. You look at the rest of the state, that's the only warning that is out for the entire, not only state of Kentucky. Let me broaden this out a little bit. Look at that. They're in another severe thunderstorm warning or severe thunderstorm warning until you get into northern Wisconsin. That is it. The only warning that is out within 500, 600, 700 miles of Kentucky is the one warning that is a tornado warning into eastern Kentucky for a part of Menifee County and a part of Morgan County. But it is interesting on how slow that storm has now become. So that is certainly a good thing. Tornado warning has been canceled. That's what we like to see. Tornado warning for Menifee County and Morgan County has been canceled. So we have no active warnings anywhere across central or eastern Kentucky for the first time in, what, an hour and a half? We'll continue to watch the radar, folks. we get any warnings, fingers crossed that is no longer the case. We get any warnings or any damage reports, we'll break in and let you know immediately. And of course, we'll have streaming information on WKYT Plus and tonight at 10 on the CW Lexington, WKYT News there, and WKYT at 11. We'll see you guys then. Everybody, here we are watching another potential tornadic thunderstorm into eastern Kentucky. Now, this warning is out for just a small piece of real estate into the far eastern part of Morgan County, into the northern tip of Johnson County. Again, it's shaded in the red, and it's embedded within a severe thunderstorm warning that goes over into Lawrence County, into far and northeastern parts of Kentucky. First Alert Radar Network, all kinds of thunderstorms across the Bluegrass area. Let's go to where we're seeing the action with that potential tornado. This thing may have had some spin with it briefly. I don't think it's tornadic at this point. What we're dealing with is showers, thunderstorms across the Bluegrass area. Here's that little teeny tiny tornado warning that includes Flat Gap here into Johnson County. That is the far eastern, and I mean far eastern part of Morgan County. The WKYT coverage area ends in Morgan County, and then it goes to a different DMA or sister station over in Huntington, West Virginia, would take over there into eastern Kentucky in Johnson County and Lawrence County. But here is that current tornado warning that is out for this small piece of real estate. It goes until 10:15 for parts of Morgan County and a part of Johnson County. It's right along 172 here. Does not have a long shelf life, and you're looking in this, and yeah, there's some broad rotation in there. This may have had a quick little spin with it, but I don't know that this is worthy right now of a warning. But nonetheless, it goes into the Flat Gap area of Johnson County, the northern part of Johnson County, coming out of Morgan County. That'll be out of Morgan County and into Johnson County within the next 5-10 minutes or so. 172, the relief area over toward Red Bush and Flat Gap. Those are two communities that 11 years ago experienced a devastating, major and deadly, unfortunately, flash flood. You guys may remember that back in the summer of 2015. We had, I believe, 7 people that were killed in one flash flood event here into those two communities, Flat Gap and the Red Bush area. And any possible tornado is right here just to the south of 172. This would be the Johnson County line. This would be Morgan County, and that's the eastern tip of that. That system is ready to cross out of our coverage area and into sections of Johnson County very shortly. It's lost the lightning with it. So it pulsed up for a hot minute there. And right now it is losing its signature. It's losing its lightning with it. So what went up very quickly in terms of what may have been a little spin with that can go away just as quickly as well. Bluegrass region, all kinds of showers, thunderstorms here. Most of the showers today and the thunderstorms have had some spin with them. Doesn't mean they're necessarily producing a tornado. Now, earlier into north of Stanton, along 213 there, likely had a tornado that touched down. That's why we were on the air for that tornado warning into northern parts of Powell County a little bit ago. We got a crew that is en route there, hearing of some not so good news coming out of that scenario along 213. Right now, the showers and thunderstorms that are out there are more of a general heavy rain producing shower and thunderstorm type action. Unfortunately, it's moving into some of the same areas where we had that possible tornado touchdown a couple of hours ago. Bluegrass region, Lexington's been raining on again, off again for the better part of the day. That extends over into Versailles, and there's the broad view to show that once we get rid of the thunderstorms that are out there across central and northeastern parts of Kentucky, we will be able to kind of breathe a sigh of relief as we make our way into the overnight hours. But again, that small little piece of real estate that is under a tornado warning into the eastern part of the Morgan County area over into northern sections of Johnson County. That is just about ready to cross out of Morgan County and into Johnson County. Morgan County is the farthest east county that is under the jurisdiction of the Lexington TV market. Now, obviously, in today's digital age, you can watch us wherever on WKYT Plus. But nonetheless, we are cutting in for this possible, and I mean possible, tornado. It is a warning that is into the eastern side of Morgan County. You got the showers, thunderstorms that are noisy, may kind of give you a little cause for concern with how noisy it is across the bluegrass area. No spins associated with that showing up right now into central Kentucky. Watch this corridor, though, into Scott County over into Franklin County. You picked up flash flooding just a few hours ago. You can get some flash flooding here very, very shortly. But the focus continues to be on this little piece of real estate that is showing up in red. Flat Gap, Johnson County, the Red Bush area, and this possible tornado that is rolling its way out of Morgan County and into the northern half of Johnson County. It's a warning that'll go until 10:15. Looking at this current radar picture, I do not see this tornado warning lasting until 10:15. But nonetheless, the warning is out right now. There's maybe just a touch of some rotation in there, but nothing that I'm looking at that is overly sounding the alarm bells in my head, given what we have seen in prior events and even what we had a little earlier in the night. So that thunderstorm that is making its way out of Morgan County and into Johnson County has a warning with it, but the spin with that is not showing up very well. It may have been spinning for just a moment there as it made its way toward the relief area, and it may still have a touch of some broad rotation, but it's nothing that is consolidated. This is heading into Red Bush and the Flat Gap area of Johnson County, rolling its way along 172. That'll be out of Morgan County in just a couple of minutes and over into Johnson County. So if you got some relatives down here, you want to give them a heads up for the possibility that something may try to spin up out of this. At least we just got another lightning strike showing up with that. But that storm is teeny tiny, and it is literally impacting just a couple of roadways. That's how small it is. Thunderstorm clusters back here across the bluegrass area. Watch the creeks and streams. Flash flooding is a good possibility. Now, we have picked up in less than a week, really since the middle of last week for most areas, greater than 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. It has been an incredibly wet period across central and eastern Kentucky compared to what we had been seeing for the better part of this year. So we're trying to make up for some lost time. Heavy rain showing up here in Clark County into the bluegrass region. The heaviest downpour action is right on top of Georgetown, 460 over into Franklin County. We had flooding into this particular area just a few short hours ago, so it would not take much to cause some renewed high water concerns with that particular storm that is out there across the bluegrass area. But what we're dealing with across the central and eastern parts of Kentucky would be for some showers and some thunderstorms out there. And that thunderstorm that is into the far eastern part of Morgan County it pulsed up very quickly, and it is pretty much a shell of its former self, and it's almost out of Morgan County. So given that this is weak and likely to have that warning go by the wayside very, very quickly, I think within the next few minutes. Won't keep on the air for this for much longer because the spin with this is just about out of our TV coverage area into Morgan County and cruising over into Johnson County, but it's got the rotation on it is until 10:15 without warning. That includes the Flat Gap area, and we'll continue to watch this. Now, we've got crews across the area. We've got a crew that is en route into Powell County, northern Powell County, very close to the Montgomery County line. We had a possible tornado earlier. And again, we're getting some reports that aren't so good coming out of a small little area there along 213. So we got a crew in that direction right now, and then we will have their report coming up on WKYT on the CW Lexington. We're there every night at 10 o'clock. We'll be over there coming up here in just a little bit, and then of course back on here on WKYT tonight at 11. But that tornado warning that is out here into eastern Morgan County over into northern parts of Johnson County is about to go by the wayside. That's a system that is moving out of Morgan County and into parts of Johnson County. So we'll have the very latest on all this. We get more warnings. We'll break in and let you know immediately. We'll be on WKYT News starting at 10 on the CW Lexington and back here on WKYT tonight at 11. I'll see you then.